Hi, good morning, and welcome back to my channel. We are on day like 475,000 of rain where I live. I don't know that I ever see an end in sight. We need to probably start building a boat. We have not been able to go to a playground in days. It's been a lot. It's a lot. My backyard is a swamp. My front yard is a swamp. And these four walls are starting to be very are becoming very close together. That all being said, it's Friday Eve, which is a glorious thing. And tomorrow's actually Valentine's Day, which is fun. And today is my kiddo's Valentine's Day party in his classroom, which I had a moment, I guess it was this time last year, where I was like, I had stuff from when he was in daycare and I finally just donated it because I was like, well, the whole concept of doing like classroom gifts for like holidays, especially like Valentine's Day, where like they hand out little things, it's just a pipe dream, I guess, for us, because year after year, we were no longer enrolled by the time Valentine's Day would come around. And so putting his little Valentine's together last night, all three of us together at the table, was really just like a moment that it was such a non-thing. Like it was just like a task that had to get done. But while doing it, I just had this moment of like, thank you, Jesus. Like, thank you, Jesus, for this classroom, for this little boy, for this place that he feels like he belongs. And if that's not a reminder to just be grateful for the place that you're in, even if it seems so minor and seemingly insignificant, putting together Valentine's for my kids' classroom last night was a moment that I was very grateful for. That being said, also grateful for the rain, despite the fact that we're getting very cabin fever in here. I'm gonna get ready. I have some things I want to discuss today. Two very important things that I want to discuss. So let me go ahead and get ready and then we'll get on to those. We have a bit of an explosion happening here. This is my second attempt at making homemade pizza dough. And last time I made it, it was really good. I think I could have done some things differently, but yikes. This is like full on, like coming over the bowl, but very nice bubbles. Very nice. Okay, so all I really need to do at this point is pour it out, split it into, I think it's 5 doughs, and then shape them. So I'm gonna get that done real quickly, and I'll share the recipe that I'm using down below. I just found it on TikTok. Real life, my anxiety has been out of control the last couple of days. I really don't know. I'm just really struggling with it lately. So I really actually haven't eaten, I definitely haven't eaten enough in the last couple of days. I need to know, I think this is like a pretty common thing. I don't think I'm alone in that like when my anxiety is bad, I just don't have an appetite, and the actual idea of eating food makes me feel physically sick. So thank goodness for sourdough, because I'm gonna make a couple pieces of toast, which this knife, if you don't have it and you make sourdough, look at these perfect slices, and it didn't take me any effort at all. I mean, we had really garbage knives before, so my husband and I were actually talking. He's like, I don't know if it's necessarily this specific knife or the fact that it's actually just a sharp knife, but I'm a fan. 10 out of 10. I'll link it down below. We did also just get regular new knives. We've had our old ones since like 2010. So it was definitely time. This is my most recent loaf. I feel like she came out kind of flat. I mean, this is no longer the middle. We're getting into the ends, but like, I don't know. She's so soft though, which is great. But yeah, I feel like she She wasn't my best loaf. I don't know that I scored it enough, to be honest. But I am gonna make that toast. I'm gonna make myself a coffee, which is probably not the right move. Actually, maybe I should hold off on the coffee. Maybe instead I'll make one of my little calm down drinks. That sounds like a better idea. So I'm gonna make a calm down drink, have that toast, and let's actually go like hang out in my office for like the next hour. Is it diabolical to just eat a piece of toast with nothing on it? Maybe. But honestly, I feel like that's one of my favorite ways to eat a slice of sourdough. It's just plain. I don't know. I really like it. And today, when I really just don't feel like eating anything, the anxiety, friends, it's had a mind of its own lately. But that kind of segues me. It does, but it doesn't. If you followed my Janu Daily vlogs, then you know that I started therapy a couple weeks ago, and something that came up in therapy in my most recent session was I kept referring to things that I want as silly. And that got my therapist's attention, because why do I classify the things that I want as silly? Something we're working on or working through is I want to get to a place where I am standing firm in like my opinions of things and getting clear on who I am, what I want, what I believe, and allowing that to be enough, and not necessarily feeling like I always have to justify the things that I like or don't like, feeling like I deserve less just because I'm who I am, and immediately assuming everybody else deserves more is complicated. And this feels really vulnerable to be saying on the internet, but it's just the reality that I'm facing. And at the very end of my session, I mentioned, she's like, is this something that comes up for you a lot? And I was like, oh yeah, like all the time. Like the word silly is thrown around in my head like confetti. And it is certainly something that I feel like has been holding me back in my creative career. And she's like, I want to dig into that a little bit more. And honestly, I don't want to say this on the internet, but I'm going to say it on the internet. Obviously, if you've paid attention to any of my content, you know that I'm a writer. I've wanted to be a writer my whole life. You know the story of like becoming an overnight best-selling author 9 years after I published. There are signs and proof all over the place that I don't suck at this, but anything creative is obviously subjective, and you can't ever get it right all of the time. But that also should mean, like on the other side of that coin, is you can't always get it wrong all the time either. But for some reason, I have myself so convinced that only other people get to be successful at this. Only other people get to have the careers that they want. I struggle a lot with wanting my work to get attention, but not having that necessarily translate into me wanting the attention, which I realize is very confusing because I'm sitting in front of a camera right now talking that I'm going to upload it to the internet, hoping people watch it. But it's because it's not, how do I explain this? Like, it's not for me, it's for you. Like, I want to be for you what I didn't have, which was just someone real and honest, and not from a place of like, I don't know, like I haven't had anything really handed to me, and I still seriously struggle with insecurity and fear and doubt, and I just want to do this anyway. And now that my therapist has pretty much told me I have to, there's some form of authority now saying like, hey, you have this assignment. For some reason that clicks into place a lot easier than when I'm like, hey, I really want to do this thing. And so that then segues me into the other thing I want to talk about is I am owning it. Saying that out loud makes me feel like I'm going to throw up, but why not own it? Like, It's the most complicated thing inside of my brain, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to articulate it, but I need to own the fact that yes, I have a job, and I love my job, and I'm good at my job, and I'm going to keep my job, and I'm not going anywhere. But simultaneously, I am an author, and I am a YouTuber, I am a blogger, I am an online person. We don't need the qualifiers of trying to be. Nope, I'm doing them, so I am. We don't need the qualifier of successful, because you're only successful if you don't stop. And so I don't know where on the spectrum of success I am yet, but I'm on the journey to getting there. And I don't know why I don't allow myself to take these things as seriously as I want to, and as seriously as they deserve to be taken. And what a blessing it is to have, quote, work that I really, really want to do. How lucky am I that I know what I want to do? And why am I complicating everything and hurting myself and breaking my own heart by being the thing that's standing in my own way? Like, why am I doing this to myself? If there are people in my life that think what I'm doing is silly, they're not my people. They're just not. And if there are people on the internet who look at what I'm doing and think it's silly, that's okay. I'm not for you. I do know that I am for someone though. And I've gotten really particular about who I let into my hemisphere. This is actually something I was talking about with my therapist too, is like, I don't have a lot of time. I have very little time actually these days. And so the things that I spend my time doing and the people with whom I spend my time, I am very particular about. And I'm the kind of person that easily lets people in. And I love that about myself. And I will always love that about myself. I am the person that will let you in, but I'm also not so great at, or I have not been so great, I'm better at it now, about when somebody disrespects me and then makes that like a habit. I'm not great at respecting myself enough to walk away. And more so recently, I'd say in like the last year and a half, I've been really much better about that. And that kind of stuff is always made very clear to me when I am doing something out loud that could be, quote, classified as silly. Because for instance, take my whole Janu Daily thing, for example. There was nobody making me do that. There could be a number of things people would assume about me knowing that I was doing that. But the people in my corner, the people that I have in my circle, I didn't even really tell them I was doing it. They just happened to follow my channel because they love me and were rooting me on and giving me specific feedback and telling me that it was having the exact effect on them that I was hoping it would have on an audience. And who better than these people to be my guinea pig audience? Because those are the kind of people I want in my community. That I want all of you to feel like that. And that's who I'm doing this for. That's what I'm doing this for. And that to me isn't silly. Some of the feedback I got from friends through Janu Daily were things like, I have friends that are going through real hard shit. And they would wait for 3 o'clock because they're like, I just knew that I was gonna get like a little dose of joy. And like, I love that. And to me, that's important. Like, I will show up for my people. And I find showing up for people to be extremely important. I feel that sharing stories that make other people feel inspired and seen and heard and encouraged and motivated and comforted as important. And that's what I do. Like, I either do it in writing books and creating characters that help people see themselves in these situations and feel a little less alone, or I show up here where I make a fool of myself and hang out with people just like me who need to feel connected to something real, or I'm on my blog where I'm sharing things I've learned or experiences that I've had that I've learned lessons from, or I'm on TikTok offering encouragement, or I'm hanging out on Instagram talking about my nail polish. I don't want to see the things that I want and the things that I want to do as silly, because I would never tell somebody else that what they want to do is silly. In fact, I would be the first person to like swat all of those doubts away from that person and just be like, oh my gosh, don't minimize yourself like that. Like if you have the desire on your heart, it's for a reason. And I truly believe that those desires are from God. Like, and I have to just continue. I have cat hair all over my face. I have to keep reminding myself of that because, like I said, I've had the desire to do this exact thing that I've been doing, writing and sharing and connecting my entire life. And for some reason, it's easy for me to tell somebody else that like, hey, that desire is from God. If you feel like you want to do something, do it and honor it and it will be blessed. But for some reason, when it's my own thing, I dismiss it so quickly. And that's not fair. And my therapist basically told me that she wants me to start having conversations with myself and honoring the thoughts that I'm having and the desires that I'm having the same way I would honor it for a friend, and that feels real uncomfortable. If I'm being honest, that feels extremely uncomfortable because I don't want to come off as selfish. I don't want to come off as self-absorbed. I don't want to come across like everything is about me, me, me. Because if you know me and you know my heart, you know that's the furthest thing from who I am. But I also just have to accept that like I may be misunderstood and that's also okay. But yeah, so in owning it, how are we owning it? Well, I have a TikTok, we know this. It's limping. It's limping along because this fear, doubt, and insecurity has just put me in a hard stop. And so I have a plan. One, I'm gonna start owning the fact that I write books a little bit more on my TikTok, which I don't know why that feels so uncomfortable because 90% of the people that are on my TikTok are there because of the fact that I write books and they wanted to support that. So they are my people. I just got real scared and stopped doing it because I convinced myself that I wasn't supposed to be doing it. I also created 2 burner accounts. And you might be like, Joey, what are you gonna do with burner accounts? Well, this is actually advice from another indie author. And it makes so much sense. And for some reason, alleviates any of the like, if you're a creative, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but it alleviates that like feeling of sharing your own work. The burner accounts that I've created have no identifying qualities about me at all. None. You would never know they're me. And the cool thing about TikTok is the way the For You page works is 99% of the time you don't follow that person, you're never gonna follow that person. And even if you do follow that person, you're probably never gonna see any more content from them ever again. So for marketing purposes, I will be creating content on those 2 burner accounts, promoting my 2 books and only promoting my 2 books. And if they only get seen by 200 people every single day, guess what? That's a whole audience of people. That's a whole auditorium full of people. That's a lot of people. That's 200 more than I have right now doing nothing. And so I don't know why it never really occurred to me to do this before. And according to this indie author, many indie authors do this, even like established author accounts do this. So we're gonna see how that goes. And that's what I'm gonna be working on today, is creating the like strategy plan for what I want that to look like. So there's my heart just spilled out in front of you. This felt really good. Actually, I was gonna say this feels really uncomfortable, and it does, but it also feels really good and somehow alleviating. Like suddenly now my anxiety feels a little less, which is crazy because I literally just made an entire drink because my anxiety has been so bad that I can hardly catch my breath. And I'm medicated and my anxiety has been this bad. But maybe my therapist is onto something because for some reason, owning the fact that I'm gonna own it while uncomfortable feels better. I don't know. tried. You guys, I gave it a good shot for about, what, a week into this manicure. And I did add like a cute little heart detail on most of the fingers. And then on these, the ring fingers, I did hearts in the cat eye, which of course, here we go. I was saying now is not going to capture. But the click clacking is driving me nuts. These are entirely too long for me. They're just too long. Which I know people with long nails are probably like, what are you talking about? But I can't do it. I can't. So I'm gonna file them all down. I might regret this, but that's the wonderful thing about doing my own nails, is I'm not really out anything except time. And so if I file them all down and I don't love them, it is okay. It is not the end of the world. Bless you, Campbell. I'm gonna do that really quickly and then I'll be right back. Much better. Much, much better. Especially considering the fact that it is my goal to get more writing done and take myself a little bit more seriously. The fact that my nails were literally stopping me from wanting to type is ridiculous. So I feel like these are much better. They can still be cute, but not drive me crazy. So I'm gonna have to like find a happy medium with that. But today was so much fun. It's just a random Thursday. It's the day before Thanksgiving, the day before Valentine's Day. And my son had a fun day at school. He had a little Valentine's Day party, which he was so amped about. And again, I'm just gonna say it until I'm blue in the face. Him being in a program where he is so happy and he is so loved and so allowed to be himself is just doing magical things for my heart. If I'm being honest, it's really just, it's life-changing. It's truly life-changing. So that was a lot of fun. And then I went and worked at Starbucks while he was at school, got a ton done on the stuff I was discussing earlier. So that was actually really productive and felt really good. And again, just kind of like made me feel, it's so funny because I had a company years and years ago with my best friend, and that was easy to take myself seriously. And I think it's because I was doing work for other people, even though it was my company. Like I was essentially being hired out to be freelancing, right? But it was like as a company, and it was the same type of work essentially, but I was doing it for other people. And that felt really legit and very serious, and it was super successful. That was easy to take seriously. Why does this feel less easy to do that with? I don't know, because it's work I love to do. I think it's work I'm good at. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I got a lot of work done there, and I was like knee deep in something, and I look up and I was like, what the heck? And my husband was walking through the door of the Starbucks. He does not work anywhere near where I was. And he took a half day and came and hung out at the Starbucks with me, and then decided, my son, a couple of days ago, we drive through like this little town, and pretty much every single day, and there's an ice cream shop there. And a few days ago, he decided that he shouts from the back seat, I need ice cream. And I was like, you need ice cream? He's like, yeah, from there. And he points to this cute little ice cream shop. And he pauses and he's like, with Ian and Mimi. I was like, oh, okay, well, can I come? And he goes, it's fine. Oh, like, okay. So I messaged my sister and was like, hey, is there a day this week we could make that happen? And she said today. And then my mom wanted to come. And then, like I said, my husband came. And it was such like a random thing to do on a random Thursday, to have the entirety of my family that lives in this area get together and go get ice cream one afternoon. But it was so much fun. And it was, I don't know, again, just one of those moments where I was just like standing there looking around, and I'm like, how lucky are we that like we get to do stuff like this? That was really a really, really lovely afternoon. I think there really is something to this whole just 2 feet on the ground in the present moment, taking yourself seriously, allowing yourself to want what you want and to let that be okay, and not worry so much about everything else. I mean, if you watched my last video where I shared about the prayer that I'd prayed just before I ended up losing my job and became an overnight Amazon bestselling author, in the prayer I say what I'd essentially been hearing over and over again, and what I was hoping and thinking and maybe assuming was God, was, you want me to share my stories and forget the rest. And forget the rest in my mind was like, don't worry so much about how to make it turn into dollars, or how someone might perceive it, or what the judgment of it might be. To just do what I know to do and forget the rest. And I'm pretty sure he gave me the confirmation and how much more sure could I be? If you watched that video, and if you haven't, I'll link it down below because it's pretty mind-boggling. But like, how much more confirmation can I get from that situation? The moral of the story is I'm owning it. You should own it. Whatever it is, I know you know what it is because it popped into your head when I said that. Own it and just let yourself have fun with it. Please just let yourself have fun with it, because that's what I'm gonna do. And that feels good. So I am gonna go ahead and sign off for the night. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and prep my Valentine's for tomorrow, because I have this cute little boy and I'm gonna ask him to be my Valentine. And I have some treats for him. Actually, I'll show you what I got him, hold on. So I got him, well, honestly, if you really wanna know. So for his school Valentine's, I got him like the regular standard Valentine's. I think I got a bouncy ball for each kid and then some candy. And I was like, what candy should we get? And I was like, is there no more appropriate candy for my son to give to his friends other than a Hershey's hug? If you know what we've been dealing with for the last 2.5 years, then that probably just made you spit laugh. And so you're welcome for that. So I have some candy for him. His favorite candy is Snickers. I have a couple of these. I'm regretting that now because he came home with a buttload of candy from school, but that's okay. And then I have this little like mess-free activity set. That's Paw Patrol, of course, because he's obsessed. What toddler isn't obsessed with Paw Patrol? Him a new puzzle. We got him a puzzle a couple days ago. And he's obsessed between puzzles right now, and he's really good at them. This says 4+. Homie is not 4. But he's good at a puzzle. So I got him that and then some candy. And so nothing crazy big, but that was one of my favorite things as a kid, like waking up and coming downstairs on like Valentine's Day, or like, I don't know, what other holidays are there that like you might get a little treat? I mean, Easter, obviously you get an Easter basket, but like, I feel like Valentine's Day is maybe the only other one. But there would always be something like our seats at the kitchen table. We did not have assigned seats, but like you end up just sitting in the same seat over and over. So I figured we would do the same for him. So I'm gonna set my Valentine's up because he's getting ready to get in the bathtub and go down for the night. And I am gonna turn in for the night very early because I'm exhausted. I did not sleep well last night. I think I said that earlier in today's video. But as always, thank you for hanging out with me. I love doing this. It's never anything I want to do before I do it, but as I'm doing it, I'm like, thank God I'm doing it, because it's something that helps me feel more alive and makes me be myself. And the more that I get to do stuff like this, the more I'm realizing, like, I think I actually like myself, which is, we're getting somewhere. So that's good. If you resonated with this content at all, or you just feel like we could be friends, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, comment down below, and let me know if there's something that you need to own. And if you feel brave enough, share below what that is. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Bye.